Hi guys, it's Molly with Soul School Spiritual Guidance and Healing. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you guys are interested in booking a personal reading with me, just a friendly reminder that I now have sliding scale pricing in effect. So all of the rates are available down below, as well as the links that you need to go ahead and book those services. So it's Saturday. And I typically don't do Saturday readings, but I had a wonderful, beautiful visit with a collective that I'm not used to channeling, okay? And I'm really excited because this collective wants to come through in the message today, and I am talking about the Dragon Collective, okay? I only began my personal relationship with my dragon guides very recently, like within this year, within 2022. And what's interesting about that is just how really beautiful and loving of a relationship that is. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why I never associated dragons with this feeling of unconditional love, loyalty, and protection, but that is absolutely my experience that I've had with them. And what's kind of funny is, like, back in 2000, I got my first tattoo. Oh no, there's a table there. You guys want to see it? I don't think you can. It's two dragons. I've been wearing these dragon tattoos for 22 years. And in my recent meditations with dragon energy, I have come to symbolize, or I've come to understand that it's almost as if my subconscious chose that dragon pattern as a representation of the two dragon guides that I am connected to, right? Quick story time here, all right? I actually had just I don't know if you guys do this, when you're trying to connect with the guide, like the best way to do that is just kind of contemplation throughout the day, like understanding the messages that have come to you through this guide and just kind of unpacking everything, right? And sometimes when I'm in that thought process, in that meditation, like messages come to me that help me better understand that relationship, okay? So I always knew that one of them was named Llewellyn. I don't know why. I just felt like Llewellyn was the name of one of my dragon guides. And I looked that up, and it's very closely related to the term Lugh, okay, who is one of the Tuatha De Danann, all right? It's a Welsh name, but it is connected to the Tuatha De Danann, who are sort of the parents of the She, so to speak, okay? So the She or the Fae, that is a collective that I've definitely been connecting to, all right? So I knew one was named Llewellyn, and I just kind of did this meditation to see if the other one's name would come forward, right? And I'm doing this like while I'm getting ready to go out to this meeting that I have every other Wednesday. It's a women's group, and then they have a man's group, and like we get together, and it's a really, really cool networking thing that I get to do. Nonetheless, so I'm getting ready to go, and I never know who I'm going to meet at these things, right? I'm getting ready to go, and as I'm doing my makeup, I'm contemplating the names of my dragons, and the name Felix came through, and I'm like, that's really cool, because Felix just means happiness, right? So I go to this event, and I meet a human being named Felix. But, okay, so just synchronicities, validations. That's just me, because I needed a place to be able to talk about my developing relationship with my dragon guides, right? How cool is that I got that confirmation all on the same day. And this person that I met named Felix was so just like this amazing, incredible, beautiful energy. And I was just so really happy to kind of have that triangulation taking place. So nonetheless, dragon energy, that's who I connected to last night. I can post it in the description box below, but I did a little meditation, a guided meditation as I was falling asleep last night to connect with dragon energies, and I feel like we just had a good old time. And so as I was sitting down to do the reading today, I was like, man, doesn't it kind of suck that I don't have any like dragon decks? And I was thinking, oh man, I wish I had some dragons on some cards so that they could show up in the reading today. How did I forget this? How did I forget this? Because you guys want to know what's crazy? And just like another real quick story time. This symbol in the middle, I don't know if you guys can see it, okay? Especially with my little crisscross thing. There is a kanji symbol for the word mother. That was put there in 2001. The symbol was. Actually, the symbol came first and then the dragons, okay? So 2000 and 2001. And so when I was really into Game of Thrones and like channeling Daenerys Targaryen energy, I was all like, mother, dragons. Like, hello, how crazy is that? So I just feel like I was always meant to have this relationship with the Dragon Collective. And now that it has been forged, I'm just super duper excited. And I've got the Mother of Dragons here in the deck, as well as her 3 very beautiful baby dragons. Maybe they'll show up. Hierophants on the bottom of the deck right now, okay? They are here to teach us, to share wisdom with us. I do also want to go ahead and mention that in this journey with the dragons last night, I received a confirmation, something that it was like a thought that I had before, but I didn't really have any way to confirm. But Kukulkan, aka Quetzalcoatl. He is Kukulkan in the Mayan culture and in the Aztec culture known as Quetzalcoatl. He's the plumed serpent. If you guys are familiar with Chichen Itza or have even seen pictures like the snake that's coming down the pyramid and the like big head figures at the bottom of the steps, that's Kukulkan. Kukulkan was coming to me in dreams when I was at that phase in my life that I knew it was time to relocate, but I didn't know where I'd go. Kukulkan was like, I don't know, come to Mexico, come to my land, right? And so that's a big part of why I'm here. Look at this. They're also bringing healing. But look at the way this healing card shows up. This is Temperance, Samuel Tarly. And what he's doing is he is in this scene, he is poring over old texts, right? And in these texts, he discovers a truth that completely shifts the way that the events play out in the rest of this story, in the rest of this world and this reality, right? So their teaching that they are bringing to us has a very, very, very healing quality. They're not only here to share certain knowledge with us, they're actually here to guide us through the process of tempering that knowledge. In other words, what's a good example? Okay, let's say you just learned about some new fact of the universe. I don't know, maybe like you just learned about like a rare tree that exists, right? Okay, it's just something that was always been out there and you weren't aware of it, okay? Now that you're aware of it, how are you going to allow that into your existing set of beliefs? How are you going to incorporate that into, and I know like the existence of a tree species isn't really going to alter us that much, but it's kind of like the way that we saw earlier this year, like the information that NASA had hired some religious experts and wanted to talk to them just about what would be the implications if we came out and said we are not alone in the universe, right? Because that's a new belief that doesn't fit into the old belief system. So how do you fit the new belief into your existing belief system in a way that doesn't cause the entire thing to be overthrown? All right? That's what temperance is ultimately about when we talk about integration of a new teaching into our old belief system. Okay? So that's really cool. You guys, I don't know how to explain it to you. Every collective that I channel carries with it such a different energy, and I love this energy that's flowing through me right now. I love it. I love it so much. So let's see. Let's keep these here because they want me to. Oof. All right. Interesting. All right. So I removed those 2 cards, and look what's sitting underneath them, the King and the Queen of coins reversed, all right? What this says to me is that the knowledge that they're bringing, they want to upright this king and queen. And the king and queen are just simply the masculine and feminine, aka outward and inward forces of the material manifested reality, okay? There's some, fuck you guys, seriously? Underneath that, we have 2 5s, okay? All right? There is something that we're running into when we try to, it's something about our understanding of the physical manifestation of reality. Okay. And look, there's a 5 of Cups underneath there as well. It's almost as like, all right, let me just go ahead and tap into what's coming through because they're getting some verbal messages towards me. This is a magic that we once possessed as human beings on this planet. Like we had any physical object was a tool for shaping reality. I don't know how do I do this? It's about magic. It's about magic, okay? Because what they're making me feel, ever since I started practicing spell work, these pentacles kind of represent to me somebody who's doing magic. They're affecting change on, here's what we're doing. Okay, you guys, this is the way that they're showing me that magic essentially works. You have the possibilities that exist here in the quantum realm, okay? Here's this mame. It's just a fruit that I have within my reach. Let's say that and this mame has a great big seed inside. And so to me, it is all about fertility and abundance, okay? Let's say that I take what's out here in the quantum field and I want it in my reality. So what I do is I invite it into this particular portion of the manifested reality, okay? So now it no longer exists in the quantum field. It exists in, it's so right. It exists in the material manifested universe, all right? And then what? Then it can act. And I don't know, it just has the ability now to affect the rest of the manifested universe, okay? I had a QHHT session back in January, which was really, really amazing. It was mind-blowing. And it was absolutely revolutionary as far as my understanding of how magic works in this particular realm. Because in this regression, it took me through 3 different lives, and this was the 3rd life, okay? Life number 1, I was in space doing magic. I didn't need to put things into physical objects because I could just call them out of the quantum field and channel them in the direction that I needed them to be. That's what space magic is like, okay? And the 2nd one, they showed me a scene in which I was practicing earth magic. Like I was a priestess, I was at an altar, and in that moment I was thinking to myself, oh, I get it. Like I'm doing space magic, but the only difference is I have to put the things into the physical objects because I'm here on earth. I hope that makes some sense to you guys. Because it makes sense to me, okay? It makes sense to me. So the ability to pull possibility out of the quantum field and place it into our physical reality is what the King and Queen of Coins reversed is representing here, okay? They're reversed because, okay, God, I love you guys. Like, I'm just accepting this, you guys. I'm just accepting the love and the energy that they are showering on me at this time. And now they're showing me like this is really fun. In my mind's eye, the love turned into these little gold coins. Okay? Which very much ties into just the mythology that we have about gardens, about dragons guarding like these hoards of gold, collections of gold coins, okay? The gold coins are representing knowledge also, they're letting me know. Dragons are fierce protectors of knowledge, okay? Because there's something about this knowledge that could be used for evil, right? It can be used against the highest good of humanity. But they're here to coach us to get this skill back, like a skill that we have mastered. Like we as human beings should be able to like do earth magic like that. Like it should be so easy for us. Okay, but they've built, oh man, they're just talking big words. Okay, let me get this, okay? Wow, they're fucking poetic too, man. They talk about, thank you for that. Okay. Wow. Okay. That was big. Let's get it one piece at a time out to the people. All right. The message that they got is that they destroyed our temples. We had temples. We had our lives. Okay. All right. We had our lives built in a way that made space for this. We had our society constructed in a way that honored this, okay? And when I say we, they are taking me back to my British Isles incarnations, to my Celtic incarnations, okay? And once again, we're kind of linking it all with the Irish light beings known as the Tuatha De Danann, okay? That the Tuatha came down and the Tuatha taught us this. I've talked about this in previous readings, okay? That the 4 cities that they came from, the 4 treasures that they brought, represent the 4 elements that are used in earth magic, what I'm just going to be calling earth magic because we didn't need elements when I was doing it in space, okay? Now, so here come the Tuatha, and with their interactions with human beings, there's this whole beautiful society that's built, which continues. It remains today in the other world, okay? These practices still take place in the other world, but it's like this iron curtain has been pulled between us. And that iron curtain is, okay, here's the thing. Society can build veils. A collective consciousness can build a veil. So what they did, and when we talk about they, let me get to who that is in just a moment, okay? Because that's huge. We're getting into like earth history, channeled messages. Thank you, dragons, okay? So we had this whole world set up, and then there was an entity that came in and tore down these temples and built new ones, in which this sort of this like wall, this iron curtain existed between the people and the magic, between the people and the elements, okay? We are nature, we're not separate from it, okay? We are the commanders and guardians and protectors of nature, okay? When did this happen in earth history? The energetic wave that they're showing me, and this is something that I've done a lot of past life healing around, is at the time of the Roman conquest of the Gauls. So like just before the turn of the millennium, so this is, I think, Caesar's campaign with the Gauls took place circa 50 BC, okay? This is before he was the emperor, or the main consul or whatever he was. He was just this, he was a politician and he owed a bunch of people money and he was really good at war. And so he's like, all right, I guess I'll just start some more wars to get these people their money that I owe them. And, hold on, random. Is that chamomile? I feel like I just discovered a chamomile patch outside my window. I have to go investigate that later. So what they do in the course of like 5 years, they murdered 1 million Celts, enslaved 1 million more, and then I believe 1 million more, is it Picts? Picts, the Scottish culture. They literally, yeah, I understand. Wow. They're showing me almost like this time lapse of the continent of Western Europe, okay? Because in my past life, I was in, is it Armorica? It's like Armorica, Brittany, right? That part, like I was on the continent and our village was burned. There was actually an agreement that I entered into as a representative of our community with a collective that was supposed to be a peace agreement, and then they came in and they burnt our village, and we had to go reestablish roots in Ireland, okay? That's just like fun fact about my past life. It's not that fun. But what they're showing me is like this time lapse in that part of the world of this like dark energy just coming in and just sweeping over the continent. And it didn't happen really that quickly, but this is a particular period in time where it was like, there was a huge, this was a huge turning point in the ability of this type of society to continue to survive in that area, okay? Because you know what happened later is they sent all the monks. It was like 600 years later that they finally set up an archbishopric in the British Isles, okay? I think it's weird that I know all these things too, but I used to teach the history of the early church, so that's why I know, okay? So there's the timeline. The Roman Empire doesn't even become Christian until like 300 years later, okay? After Julius Caesar's campaign. 300 years after that is when the Christianization and the suppression of the real suppression of Celtic mythology began, okay? Because Celtic people didn't write their stories down. It was so very important that we pass them on orally, that we remember them, that we have that library in our minds, okay? Oh. That information is stored in our DNA, is what the dragons want me to talk about now, okay? So the legends that were passed down, and I've known about this for some time, that are, it's almost as if, okay, I know if I were you right now, I would be like, this girl's all over the place. I'm just trying to get the messages through, okay? Some time ago, I realized that the reason why, connecting to our ancestors is the best way to understand the pagan practices of the past is that those rituals are in our DNA. And it's almost like when we chose to incarnate on this planet, part of our decision of what body we would incarnate into had a lot to do with which rituals are programmed into the DNA of the physical body that we chose to inhabit. Isn't that cool? Energy is just data, you guys. That's all it is. Energy is data. Energy is data. And DNA is like a data storage device. That's what that is. Okay? So, this library, all this knowledge still exists within us because it was passed on generation after generation after generation after generation. The Romans came in, the Christians came in, they're like, oh, you don't have books? You don't have your stuff written down? Let us write your stories for you. And that's when the bastardization of the mythologies began. That's when the last of these temples were destroyed. Okay? Now, that's not to say that people weren't practicing this in the woods, right? But that's when, yeah, they're just showing me this time lapse of over the course of like 600 or 700 years, this dark force coming in and eventually oppressing the magical societies that we had built and created in that part of the world, okay? This is a part, and I'm sure there are people who are going to disagree and push back and maybe jump on me for saying this. Hopefully they're not even here, okay? When we as a collective on Earth have to deal with the aggregate karma of colonization, it goes back that far. It goes back farther, right? But the same way that the colonization and enslavement of the African peoples is being dealt with now in our collective karma, the same way that the colonization and eradication of First Nations people it is now active in our collective karma. That's being transmuted, it's being answered, it's being dealt with. Okay? And those of us who had those experiences amongst the Celts, amongst the Picts, amongst the Germanic tribes, right? The link between those lives and this life is strong for a reason, okay? And this is something that comes in, Lisa Royal Holt talks about this a lot in her channeled literature, especially in Millennium. She talks about when we shift from the third dimension to the third density to the fourth density, we move from dealing with personal individual karma into dealing with our collective karma, okay? So the rise of feminine energy at this time, the rediscovery of the ancient practices, beliefs, mythologies, etc., of the pagan world, of the magical world. They tried to create a magic that they could control, and they called it science. Full stop. Where did that come from? Full stop. They just stopped after that. Look at this Eight of Swords. So this is the mentality that was spread. Okay? We are no longer one with nature. There's this veil, there's this iron curtain standing between us and our own power. Okay? If you guys don't follow me on TikTok, I just share some nuggets over there. Sometimes I get these channeled messages, and I'm going to be very honest with you. It's like the witchiest thing I've ever channeled. One of the most revolutionary things I've ever channeled, but I freaking love it. And I'm going to share it with you right now. It's a message from the She, from the nature spirits, about current constitutional debates that are going on in the United States of America about a woman's rights, right? Okay? And the message that came through was like, since when did that right come from the government? Nature spirits are like, we've given you the herbs you need to take that power back. We've given you the knowledge that you need to be able to use those herbs. And then this thing came in and took that knowledge from us, created this wall around us, right? And yes, I am talking about the fact that we may be living in an age where I think, according to the message that came through, it's not even my message, but I agree with it, okay? Herbalists would do well to study the herbs that can affect a woman's reproductive health, that can help a woman to take control of her reproductive health, okay? And you realize it's like, not just when it comes to that part of medicine, when it comes to everything. You know what pharmaceuticals are? Do you know what pharmaceuticals even are? They tried to make a magic that they could control, and they called it science. You know what pharmaceuticals are? What they do is they're like, man, people have been using this leaf to do this thing for a long time. What's in that leaf? And they find the chemical compound and they just like tweak it. And they're like, now we can patent that. Now that's science. Now that's science. And we can put it in a jar and we can charge money for it. And we can disempower the people. We can dispossess the people of the knowledge that they always had about how to make this magic. Okay, now they're showing me, let's bring the mame back into this. let's say I didn't know what a mame was, and I'm just wandering through the jungle one day, and I'm like, oh my God, look at this amazing fruit. I would be, if I lived back in that time, I would begin a communication with this fruit to understand what can it do for my body, what can it do for my mind, what can it do for my spirit, what can it do for my energy. So it's like this open communication between human beings and nature spirits that was shut down. That's what these temples were. All right, let's talk about that then. Have you guys ever read Volsunga Saga? I'm going to share something with you. I just realized I can't because it's back in Kansas. This is one of my prized possessions that I left behind in Kansas. It did not come with me. Why? I had a metalsmithing class back in college. Oh man, I wish I had him with me because I spelled out in runes, not ruins, runes. Who art thou? It is about Sigurd the Dragon Slayer. It's really about this like dynasty of magical human royalty, so to speak. And dragons are in that myth. Dragons are in Beowulf. Basically what they're doing is they're just having me think back, what do I know about ancient dragon mythology from that part of the world, right? They want to take me back to that scene that I was representing in my art, in which Sigurd is the dragon slayer, okay? And he's heard about this dragon who's like the worst, allegedly, right? And it's hoarding this treasure. So they want me to unpack that story and see how this message fits in there, okay? So Sigurd comes in and he's all like, here I am to get your gold. And the dragon was like, oh man, this is like a really good dragon slayer. I think I might get got this time. And the plan was, I've just got to get his name. As long as I've got his name, how fey is that? As long as I've got his name, I can take him down from the other side. Right? And so the dragon says, who art thou? And that was what I had inscribed. And in this art that I made, that's not with me, I can't show you. It's on my Instagram, I know that. Let me go way back. And Sigurd refuses to reveal his name. I'm gonna take a couple days to unpack that. Spirit does that a lot, you guys. They use my knowledge of literature, and instead of like giving me the answer, they're like, you figure it out, right? You got a 500-word essay about it. What do you want to say? So right now I have not developed a thesis on what is the overlap. But let's get back to these cards. You guys, 33 minutes, and I've just been mumbling about dragons. That is okay. Beautiful dragons. Show yourself to me, if you will. We got this 5 of Wands showing up. So there's some sort of blockage going on right now. Lots of cards. Okay. All right. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. So what they want me to know is, wait, like, there would have been a time in the past when Sigurd and that dragon were allies. Why were they fighting against each other? This is a big story. And I love that they're trying to offer me details, but it's really, I need to bring it in. I need to bring it in. Let's bring it in. Okay. There was a point in time, and it has to do with the gold. Okay. Thank you for your patience while I unpack this. Okay. It has to do with a shift in the relationships between the human beings and the gold. The gold represents the knowledge that the dragon's job was always to protect this knowledge. It's the same knowledge that they want to bring in and share with us again. But they're letting me know that there came a point in time where they had to withdraw. Their loyalty is not to humans, their loyalty is to the knowledge. So the loyalty is to the gold, okay? When they started to realize that humans were using the gold, aka the knowledge, the teachings, in a way that was not in alignment with nature, the dragons had to take the gold, aka the knowledge, away from, they had to begin protecting the knowledge from the human beings. They just said we had to take it away from the patriarchal way of being. Dragon is a very feminine energy. It's the protective feminine energy, right? Because it's like always kind of mind-blowing when I bring this up in sessions or talks when I'm talking about feminine energy, because feminine energy is represented to us as exceptionally passive, right? And this is exemplified in a biological example of the human sex cell, aka the egg, right? It like just sits there and waits to be, fertilized, penetrated by these sperm. But no, that's not the whole story. The egg can say no. I just happen to have the Eight of Swords on the table. So imagine all these little sperm coming and the egg being like, no. I don't want to be fertilized today. I don't want to be fertilized by you. That protective energy is what the dragons represent. Okay? So they're here to share something with us. And it's almost like the message is not getting through. There's some sort of blockage. There's still residuals. Where did I put that? Why did I pack that away? Of that Eight of Swords energy. Okay? And it's a mental thing. Many of us are just not open and receptive to the teachings of the dragons, which they're trying to do while we're in dream state, by the way. Because there have been thousands of years of this narrative of dragons versus humans. Okay? It's like this illusion that we're mismatched somehow. Okay? The Seven of Cups reversed and the Two of Cups reversed. And that's really interesting because I've always interpreted the dragon, at least the way it's portrayed, the way that it is interpreted in Western mythology as representing the ego. And now I realize that's not what it represents at all. It was just about the projection of ego by the dragon slayer. And by those who write the stories. Oh my God, that makes sense. Because masculinity sees female power as a threat. The patriarchy sees female power as a threat. The patriarchy must demonize all which is feminine in order to survive. And that's why we've been given this belief system somewhere deep down, like subconsciously. There's this blockage about interacting with dragons. It's time to heal that. It's time to balance that out. The Knight of Swords. Okay. This has something to do about the humans protecting, the humans and dragons working together, to build new temples. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Because that's what they're doing in this Three of Pentacles. That is a temple that they're building. We're gonna get that back, you guys. Like, New Earth is gonna be so in alignment. It's gonna be like the magical world that we used to live on in this planet. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, babies. There's healing that needs done here. Okay? Three of Swords, King of Swords, the Night King, and then the Tower reversed. Like, it was on threat of pain, threat of death, that this knowledge was taken from us. Okay? We need to shift that. We need to take that narrative and turn it in another direction. Okay? Because this is real, you guys. The dragons want to come in. There are many of you that the dragons want to mentor. Okay? Now, what is this? This moon is the moon door. But do you see how it looks like a dragon's eye? Look, this is like a well, and this is the door. And when the door opens up, like, you fall through it, right? It's terrible. Horrible. But it's also a portal. Okay, you guys, they're giving me really specific information. Show me, show me, show me, show me. I don't know how to unpack that. Okay, it's a lot. It's a lot. You guys, they're showing me a full moon and like the starry sky and a dragon moving like almost like around the moon. They're really easy to connect with during a full moon. Watch for us in the clouds, is what they said. Watch for us in the clouds. For some of you guys, this Gemini new moon, the relationship that it's bringing into you, the lifelong heart connection thing that's going to be revived, is literally your relationship with the dragon guide. I feel like that's what wants to come out today. Okay, let's do one more. This is just from the self-care cards, all right? They want me to get one more. I get you. I know what you're trying to show me. Okay, they're trying to show me just some advice for those of you who do want to open up and connect with the dragon energy at this time. Thank you, divine spirits of love and light. Beautiful, beautiful dragon energy. What a weird day it has been, you guys. It's been such a weird day. There was a tarantula in my bathroom. I almost got in an internet argument, but not really, because I wasn't trying to prove anything. Like, all I did was some guy had a question about, it was like on a Bashar video, and somebody asked about dimensions, because basically Bashar was answering the flat earth question. So if you guys, whoever asked me that the other day, Bashar's answer to that question is my answer to that question. There is a particular dimension on which the earth is flat, because all the things that we perceive as three-dimensional are two-dimensional in the second dimension. Anyways, some guy's asking like what's another example of like second dimensional perspective? And I was like, well, you look at your phone, right? And that's a 2D image, but you understand it as a 3D image. And he's like, but you didn't prove the dimensions exist. And I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to help. Okay? I never claimed that I can prove dimensionality. There's some weird energies all over the place. Okay? The dragons are letting me know there's some sort of weird fusion that took place between our energies last night. And now that I am carrying this dragon energy with me, people are going to respond to it in a special kind of way. It's going to be triggering to people, but that's okay, because we can't heal something, we can't heal a wound that we don't know exists. All right, so I guess somehow my relationship with the dragons is helping me to move forward and possibly trigger healing in other people who are like nervous about relationship with dragons. Okay, this is beautiful. First, I got help, which is just like, look, here we are. There's the dragons. They're there for us. Playing the instrument is about authentic expression, right? They have something to communicate to us. But also, you see how this guy's got, it's like this guy has a violin. And he's like, I don't know how to play a violin. I need to look up to somebody else who's playing the violin. Okay? We also have listening. This mirror is yet another portal. And look at what is on her head, you guys. Can you see that? It's a dragon. Okay. They just want me to mention, if it's better for you to understand it as a dragon guide, you can understand it as a dragon guide. For some of you guys, you will very clearly understand it as the dragon aspect of yourself. Like a parallel life where you're living as a dragon somewhere else. That is gorgeous. Oh, babes, I love you so much. So this says dance, step into the light, share your gifts and talents with the world. And what they're showing me is that this, by the way, did I say this? Kukulkan's not just dragon. He's like avian dragon combination, right? So I don't know the relationship between the avians and the dragons. Different points of evolution is what they let me know. So there's a very close between avian and dragon energies, okay? Which makes sense. Here is us. That's me, that's you, right? But it like showing up as almost like a child form. And here is this dragon energy asleep underneath you. And it's almost like it's always been there with you to protect you. But you see how it looks like it's sleeping? Yeah. It's just talking about because swans mate for life. And I feel like each of us has a dragon guide that's been there with us for our entire lives. If you ever imagined dragons as a child, you ever played with dragons as a child, if you gave them names, trust those names. That's how they identified themselves to you. Ask for help. Listen to your wise self. Let your inner compass direct the course of your life. Okay? Yeah. It's not just dragon guides, that's dragon self. You guys, I had no idea. I just had no idea. I had no idea. That was the magnitude of the message that wanted to come out today. Oh, you guys, and look, we've got friendship. Best of luck to all of you with your dragon friendships. I'm surprised we got this many cards out of the Game of Thrones deck and none of them actually have dragons on them. Interesting. The final card here is what the dragons can help you to become. And this is from the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms, which is an archetype deck. So it's going to show an aspect of ourselves that we can bring forth at this time by connecting with our dragon guides or our dragon selves. Okay? So if you want to connect with the dragons, go into meditation, just set that intention. Just set that intention. Allow yourself to release any blockages that might stand in the way of that communication. But I really feel like this is a huge thing. Like, it's time for humans and dragons to heal their the separation. Where did she go? Nah. This into this. Into this. Okay, this is the Lady of Lightning. It's a number 8. 8 is a card of strength. Okay. Surprises, sometimes shock, total paradigm shift. Is this not what I talked about? The paradigm shift. We are not separate from nature. We are nature. We are nature. When you realize that you are nature, you have the ability to command, not even to command nature, but to cooperate with nature in order to make the magic happen. This is what our guides, our dragon guides, are here to turn us into, from this little ballerina into this Lady of Lightning. Look at that. Still levitating, right? Still levitating, still dancing, just happens to be shooting, like channeling energy from above with the hands, with the fingertips, directly into our earth experience. Yeah, she's not using tools. This she's doing space magic on earth. And they want to teach us how. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I know my readings have been getting really long lately, but I'm doing what I do. Just channeling, getting the message out to you. I love, love, love getting to know you guys better through the one-on-ones. So I'm not gonna lie, I could use the support right now. Book a reading. We got all the rates down below, all the links that you need. Reach out to me at info@soulschoolspiritual.com if you have any questions, okay? Take care.